Good evening, everyone. It's a little after 6 here on the 12th of January, Monday evening. We've been working through Exodus. Today we're going to be reading through the 8th chapter of Exodus, and this is when God sends the frogs. Can you imagine having frogs in your house, in your bed chamber, on your bed, in your ovens? Everywhere you look being frogs. Wow. What a plague. And it says that the magicians also brought frogs upon the land of Egypt. And of course Pharaoh wanted them to take away the frogs. Anyway, I'm going to turn this over to Mark, have him read it, and I might make a few comments on this. It wasn't just frogs, it was swarms of flies and all kind of things. God certainly continued to harden Pharaoh's heart through all of this, didn't he? It was a hardening by God.
Exodus is chapter 8. The Lord spake unto Moses, Go unto Pharaoh, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. Rivers shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thy house, thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed, into the house of thy servants, upon thy people, and into thine ovens, thy kneading troughs, and the frogs shall come up both on thee and upon thy people and upon all thy servants. The Lord spake unto Moses, saying to Aaron, Stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over the streams, over the rivers, and over the ponds, and cause frogs to come upon the land of Egypt. Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. The magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs from the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron, said, Entreat the Lord that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people. I will let the people go, they may do sacrifice unto the Lord. Moses said to Pharaoh, Glory over me, when shall I entreat for thee and for thy servants and for thy people? Store the frogs from thee in thy house, that they may remain in the river only. He said, Tomorrow. And he said, Be it according to thy word, thou mayest know there is none like unto the Lord our God. The frogs shall depart from thee and from thy houses and from thy servants and from thy people. They shall remain in the river only. Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried unto the Lord because of the frogs which he had brought against Pharaoh. The Lord did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs dried out of the houses, out of the village, and out of the field. They gathered them together as upon heaps, and the land stank. When Pharaoh saw there was respite, he hardened his heart and hearkened not unto them as the Lord had said. The Lord said unto Moses, Say unto Aaron, Stretch out thy rod, and smite the dust of the land. Become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And they did so. So Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice, and man and beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And the musicians did so with their enchantments, bring forth lice, but they could not. So there were lice upon man, upon beast. Musicians said unto Pharaoh, This is the finger of God. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened. Hearken not unto them, as the Lord had said. And the Lord said unto Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he cometh forward to the water, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Let my people go, they may serve me. Else, if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, upon thy servants, upon thy people, and into thy houses, and the house of the Egyptians shall be full of swarms of flies. Also the ground wherein they are, and I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarm of flies shall be there, to the end thou mayest know that I am the Lord in the midst of the earth. And I will put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be. The Lord did so, and there came a grievous swarm of flies in the house of Pharaoh, and to the servant houses. To all the land of Egypt the land was crimped by reason of a swarm of flies. And Pharaoh called for Moses, for Aaron, said, Go ye sacrifice your God in the land. And Moses said, It is not meet so to do. We shall sacrifice abomination Egyptians, Lord our God, and lo, shall we sacrifice abomination Egyptians before their eyes. And will not stone us. We'll go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice the Lord our God. He shall command us. And Pharaoh said, I will not let you go, that you may sacrifice the Lord your God in the wilderness. Only ye shall not go very far away and entreat for me. And Moses said, Behold, I go out from thee. I will entreat the Lord of swarm flies, but apart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow. But let not Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more, and not letting the people go to sacrifice to the Lord. Moses went out from Pharaoh and entreated the Lord, and the Lord did according to the word of Moses, and he removed the swarm of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people. There remained not one. Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also, neither would he let the people go. Chapter.
Thank you, Mark.
Yes.
Well, have you ever thought about the fact that God has hardened the rulers of the United States' hearts, just like he hardened Pharaoh's hearts? Whenever they pass laws, make it legal to kill babies in mothers' wombs, whenever they make it legal for men to marry men and women to marry women, don't you think that's a hardening of God, their hearts? What about exalting Israel, who curses Christ as their Messiah? What about that? Isn't that a hardening of their hearts? What about causing ministers to neglect the Bible regarding election and predestination? Isn't that a hardening of people's hearts? And even whenever God sent all these plagues, including the frogs and the flies, Pharaoh still would not. He still would not capitulate. He still remained hardened against God. A lot of people, when they get a respite, that makes them even more hardened. That's what happened. It says that when Pharaoh, every time that Moses prayed that they would remove a plague, Pharaoh even got more hardened than ever, because he got a respite from it, didn't he? In verse 15 it says, when Pharaoh saw that there was a respite, he hardened his heart and hearkened not unto them. Well, then they brought in all the lice throughout all the land. And, the magicians weren't much help. They just further brought on more plagues like Moses brought on. They brought on more frogs. They brought on more lice. The magician said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of God. Pharaoh's heart was hardened. Swarms of flies. Flies can be very irritating, can't they? I know sometimes we have flies. They can be very irritating. Also, gnats can be irritating too. When this was going on with the flies, Pharaoh said, I will let you go, that you may sacrifice your God. Only you shall not go very far. He was going to try to set the rules, wasn't he? God sets the rules. Pharaoh doesn't set the rules. Well, we're going to see that after Moses asked God to remove the flies, Pharaoh hardened his heart again. And we're going to see in the next chapter even more of the plagues that were brought on Pharaoh. There's a lesson here for us, our own nation. God has hardened the hearts of many people in our nation. Why do you think they call it the gay pride parade? They're proud of their sin. Why do you think they call it equity and inclusion, right? Why do they call it pro-choice? Pro-choice? You know, God is the determiner of our destiny, not ourselves. Well, that's pretty much what I wanted to say tonight. May the good Lord be with you, and may we remember that God is the one that rules the hearts of men. And we should daily cry out to Him for mercy and not do what is in Scripture, which says that why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing, right? So, Pharaoh was very deceitful, and the rulers of our nation are very deceitful as well. Very deceitful. May the good Lord be with you this evening is my prayer. God bless.